Hey guys, so I've been thinking, when you do things in life that is helping you to grow, you have to learn to communicate, okay? And the thing is that when you start doing things that is like Jesus Christ in life, you're going to achieve more. You're going to have more success in your life. So every single day, turning to better habits, having better habits in your life, making sure that you're exercising, having a good diet, making sure that you're working 9 to 5, making sure that you're basically someone who has money, for example, and that you can get married, for example, you can travel the world, you can do whatever you like to do, for example. But the thing is that, you have to stay away from poor habits. You have to stay away from things that no longer serve you as a person. So every single day, focusing on a better life for yourself, focusing on something that helps you to grow, focusing on something that helps you to do better in life. That's what you need to focus on. Okay, focus on yourself. Make sure that you're helping yourself in some kind of way. Learn to communicate. Learn to transmute energy and sexual thoughts into communication. Learn to every single day just move forward with the time. Move forward with yourself. Move forward with life. Because when you move forward, you'll have a better chance at living a greater life. And it's always about transmuting energy, okay, into communication or into exercise, into words, okay? So writing, doing a lot of writing in your day, making sure also that you're doing something to better your life, to better your possibilities, to make sure that you're helping yourself to grow and communicating with the time. So every single day you're focusing on yourself, you're focusing on a better life, you're focusing to make yourself a greater person in life, and you're making sure that you're giving of your heart, making sure that you're becoming that version of yourself that you've always dreamt of. Okay, which means exercise, which means good sleep, which means being off the drugs, being sober, for example, staying away from pornography, not watching pornography, not masturbating, and also transmuting sex into communication. You understand? And doing even things like sex after marriage and stuff, and just living according to higher values and morals. Staying off the alcohol, making sure you're not drinking caffeine, making sure you're not smoking anything, making sure you're not smoking nicotine, you're not smoking vapes, you're not smoking, for example, cigarettes, and you're staying off the white sugar, you're not drinking white sugar, and you're making something in terms of you're making sure that you eat vegan food, so making sure you're staying away from meat, you're not eating meat, for example. So you're just challenging your belief system. You're challenging your belief system, for example, to get to a better life. Okay? And then if you want to lose weight, making sure you're staying away from pizza, making sure you're staying away from white sugar, making sure you're staying away from drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, stay away from pharmaceutical drugs, stay away from all types of tablets. For example, make sure you get yourself to a stage where you're fully confident in who you are and that you're really moving forward into Jesus Christ. You understand? Because that's the whole point in life. The whole point is every single day making sure that you're coaching, you're living your life the best way, you're making sure you're pushing forward in your communication, you're pushing forward in who you are, and you're expressing yourself every single day. Because when you express yourself, you'll be that much better. You'll be a better person, you'll do much better in life, and you'll have better ways of living your life. You understand? So that's the whole point. The whole point is every single day to live the best way you can, to showcase your skills, to showcase who you are, to make sure that you're pushing forward and doing landing pages, for example, with ClickFunnels, or learning ads, for example, or how to run ads for yourself. Because it's gonna be very useful in terms of building your own events and making events around yourself and basically helping yourself to get to the next stage. You understand? So that's the important thing. Make sure that you're growing up as a person who is mature, who's moving forward with life, and who's making sure that they have a better time with their life, they're better, more successful, and doing a greater job for themselves. So the thing is that also I want to say that when you rewire your habits, okay, all you're doing is to stay away from old habits by communicating out aloud with yourself, or using communicational techniques to move forward in your life. So for example, a smoker who smoked 13 years of life, okay, let's say a smoker smoked for 13 years of his life, and now he quit smoking, and how is he going to rewire his brain to get to the next stage, to overcome cigarettes, for example, so that he never smokes again, for example, from this point? So what he has to do is he has to communicate every single day to be sober and to make sure that he's a smoke-free person. He has to communicate that. He has to talk out aloud with himself. He has to make sure that he is talking out aloud with himself, or writing, or doing art, for example. Transmuting energy and communication is how you move forward and not backwards. Okay? So you have to use communication in order to move forward with your life, making sure that when you feel tempted for something, that you communicate in that moment, because temptation is like an energy. It's like energy, or raw energy around you, okay? And that temptation always coming back to you, okay? That temptation is always coming around some way, okay? So you have to learn that when you feel tempted to smoke a cigarette, or when you feel tempted to drink alcohol, or when you feel tempted to gamble, or when you feel tempted to watch porn or to masturbate, you have to be able to catch the temptation by communicating out aloud with yourself, or just communicating with yourself to make sure that you're moving forward in your life. You have to make sure that you're transmuting temptation into communication. Do you understand? So when you transmute temptation into communication, you'll move forward in that moment, because you're communicating a better life. You're communicating to grow yourself in that moment. You're communicating to make sure that you can overcome temptation, and that you can become a better person, and that you can do much better in your life and stay healthy and all that kind of stuff. So that's the important thing. So every single day, focusing on your life, focusing on something that improves your life. You understand? Focusing on something that helps you to get to the next stage in your life. So that's why every single day, focus on yourself. Make sure you're overcoming temptation. Make sure that you're improving your habits. Make sure that you're getting in the gym and walking, or doing the gym in how you do it, okay? Make sure you get exercising. Make sure that you're helping yourself to improve your habits, making sure that you're clean, okay? Make sure you're clean. Make sure that you're not just having sex around. Make sure that you're doing Jesus Christ things in the world. Yes, and because when you do Jesus Christ things in the world, you do much better. You'll be a better person. You'll achieve greater things in life. Yes, and so that's why focus on yourself. Focus on helping yourself to have greater values. Be much more like Jesus Christ today. You understand? Figure out in your life what is Jesus Christ and what is not Jesus Christ in the world, in terms of habits. You understand? Look at Jesus Christ, for example, his life, and what did he embody, okay? How did he live his life, okay? And how he lived his life, that's how you live your life, okay? How he treated people is how you treated people too. How he treats people is how you treat people. You understand? So make sure you understand that you have to be growing yourself. You have to be growing yourself in the moment. You have to be looking for ways to improve your life, looking for ways to help yourself, okay? Help yourself to get learning to become your best version. That's the whole point. The whole point is to lose weight, to get healthier, and to enjoy your life, isn't it? Yes, and to make sure that you're more effective, to make sure that you're a greater individual, that you're much more spiritual, that you're much more of someone who can tackle big challenges in your life, and that can become something much more. And understand? So that's why focus on yourself, focus on something that improves your life. Just talk and talk and talk. Talk to yourself, communicate more, speak more words into the planet, speak more into the world. Start helping yourself to just really get to the stage that you need to get to. You understand? Get to the stage you need to get to. Every single day, focusing on your life, focusing on what helps your life to succeed, focusing on a greater life, focusing on helping yourself to manifest a greater life, or attracting a beautiful partner in your life. Okay? Making sure you're working, making sure that you're getting to a stage where, hey, now you can work, now you can do things, now you're healthier, now you're more energetic, now you're basically a person who feels more youthful, more vibrant, more energy in your life. You have more energy in your life. Now you're feeling great, you're feeling young again, you're feeling much greater, and you're feeling like you're in your prime, or you feel like you are basically your greatest version that you've ever been before. You understand? So you have to understand that every single day is a challenge. Every single day is a challenge to live life, to stay proactive, to stay someone who is transmuting energy into communication, and start really focusing on your life, focusing on what's helping your life, what is not, removing things from your life that no longer serve you, whether it be removing certain areas from your life, not going to certain areas in life, not going to certain nightclubs in life, not eating certain foods in life, not going to certain gyms in life, not hanging out with certain people in life, not hanging out with certain communities in life, making sure that you're not doing things like how you used to do them. You're just moving into a new stage in your life. Okay? The habits that you picked up on, when you were younger, make sure you look at those habits. Are they serving you, or are they making you worse? Okay? Be someone who's like a monk, who's like a yogi. Okay? Every single day meditating, every single day becoming better, stretching, doing some exercises, lifting some weights, making sure that you're doing something that is making you more athletic in life, making you look greater in life, making sure that you're helping yourself to get to the next stage in your life. You understand? That's what you need to focus on. So that's why I'm always building upon my words. I'm always building upon my communication. I'm always building upon what I do in my life. I'm always building upon how I can grow myself as a person. How can I transmute my energy into communication? And I just talk out aloud with myself. So, for example, when I see temptation in my life, I communicate in that moment. I communicate to grow in that moment. I just grow somehow. So I just grow to overcome that temptation so that I move forward in my life. So you have to understand that that's how I move forward in my life. I do art. I do something that communicates. I do something that helps me to communicate in life. That helps me to move forward in my life. That helps me to get healthier. That helps me to really pick out consciously what I'm doing with my life consciously. Eating foods and drinks and drinking drinks and foods, for example, that I'm doing, for example, that is helping me be vegan, that's helping me to help my life to succeed, that's helping me to grow. I remove certain foods from my life, I remove certain drinks from my life. I don't drink soft drinks. I eat vegan food, and I try to stay away from meat, for example. But the thing is, you have to realize that's why I'm moving forward in my life. Because every day I'm losing weight, I'm getting to a healthier stage in my life, and I'm focusing on a greater life. That's the whole point, isn't it? Every single day to focus on your life, to focus on what helps your life to succeed, to help your life to get to a better stage in your life, to make sure that you're doing something that is helping you to succeed every single day, and focusing on something that helps you to grow. You have to be growing. You have to be growing yourself. You have to be growing the person you are. You have to be teaching and educating people. You have to be teaching and educating people about business, about life, about success, about whatever it is that's on your mind. You understand? You have to be teaching people how to get to the next stage in your life. Okay? And in their life. Okay? Teach people how to get to the next stage in their life. Focus on communication. Focus on the long drift in communication. You understand? making sure you're going for the long haul, making sure that when you start communicating, you're communicating the long haul in your life. You're living a long life. You're making sure you're doing things in your life that's going to help you to live a long life. That's going to help you to be successful in your life. That's going to help you to have better habits. That's going to help you to be clean. That's going to be helping you to be more like Jesus Christ in your life. You know what I'm saying? Because when you follow Jesus Christ, when you move into Jesus Christ, you'll feel much better. You'll get married. You'll have kids. You'll achieve certain things and you'll do much better in your life. Okay? That's why focus on your life. Focus on helping your life to succeed. Focus on helping yourself to get to the next stage in your life. Focus on what's helping you, what's serving you. Remove what's not serving you in life. Make sure you're serving others. Make sure that you're in service, okay? That you're doing things legally in your life. Make sure that you are basically helping your life to succeed. That you're helping yourself to grow as a person. You have to be growing in your life. You have to be growing every single day. You have to be growing with who you are in life. When you grow, the world is much better every single day. Focusing on communicating, focusing on transmuting, focusing on just communicating with yourself. Communicating with yourself to become that greater version of yourself. You have to become your greater version. You have to become someone who's far greater than who you are now. Okay? You have to become that greater version of you. Okay? That better version of you every single day, focusing on losing weight, focusing on becoming healthier, focusing on heaven, making sure you're living in heaven, make sure that you're doing something that is helping you live heaven on earth, okay? That's what you focus on. So look to improve. Look to every single day succeed in your endeavors. Succeed in who you are. Succeed in how you do things. You know what I'm saying? Focusing on a better life. Looking always for better communication. Making sure you're doing things that is helping you to succeed every single day. And you're focusing on helping your life to succeed. No matter who is trying to pull you down, no matter who is trying to degrade you or whatever it is, you're pushing forward into a better life. You're pushing forward to get yourself somewhere much more where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? You're pushing yourself to get to the next stage in your life. You're pushing yourself to communicate. You're pushing yourself to become your greatest asset in life. And you're just communicating with yourself to get to the next stage in your life. From plan A to plan B, okay? Or from plan B to plan A. You're making sure you're pushing yourself, you're pushing your life, you're pushing everything in your life to move to the next stage. You're pushing yourself every single day to learn. You're learning more every single day, and you're basically experiencing new things. You're experiencing new wisdom, something that is new in your life. You have new clothes, new life, new surroundings. For example, new body shape, new look, for example, and you're just always looking new. Okay, you're always looking new, and you're always feeling better in your life. You're always feeling better in your life. You're communicating in your life. You're communicating who you are. You're communicating how you move forward in your life. You're doing your work in the planet. You're doing your work in the planet. You're doing your passion. You're doing your dream. You're doing what you feel that you came here to do. You know what I'm saying? You're doing what you want to do in your life. You do what you want to do. Okay? You feel that. Feel what you want to feel. Live how you want to live. Do what you want to do. But make sure you're not complaining. Don't complain about your life, okay, at all. Make sure that you're taking responsibility for your life. You're taking responsibility for your life every day. You know what I'm saying? Having no money is not an excuse, okay? It's not an excuse not to have money, okay? Make sure you have money. Make sure that you're working. Make sure that you're doing things according to how you want to live your life, okay? Make sure that when you want more money, you go work for it. You go work for more money, okay? You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that people don't work for money, okay? Rich people don't work for money. Rich people have money work for them, okay? You have to understand that. It's not about working hard. It's about working smart. It's about doing the things that you love to do. It's about doing things that you love to do. Okay? When you feel it's necessary for you to work a 9 to 5 job, you go and work a 9 to 5 job. When you feel it's necessary to go make events around people, you go make events around people. Okay? So you're always doing things around life that is making you basically much better. Okay? You're doing much better, you're thinking much better, you're improving yourself much better, and you're doing things that is helping you to love life. Okay, but you have to sell yourself. You have to sell yourself every single day by providing free value and also telling them what's in store for them in your products. Okay, basically helping them to get to the next stage. Okay, or to purchase your event or to purchase your product, for example, you have to sell them on that. You have to sell them on things that is going to help them to succeed. Okay, and then you have to communicate that into the planet, and you have to communicate for them to succeed every single day. You understand? Because when you focus on a greater life, you focus on communication, you'll focus on something that grows you, you'll focus on a better life for yourself. You'll focus on something that helps you to grow as a person. That's what you need to focus on, guys. You focus on what helps you to create things that is helping others. You understand? Making sure you're living your life, lifting yourself every day, communicating as much as possible, and just being in the moment. Use your time in your room or wherever you are to create things, to create audio programs, to create video programs, to create writing materials. Even if you're in isolation, make sure that you're creating things in isolation, making sure that you're creating as much as you can so that you can push yourself forward. You understand? Sometimes step out of your house, go for a drink somewhere. Okay? Go drink some water somewhere. You understand? And start really lifting yourself every single day to become your better version. Okay? Because that's what you have to focus on. You have to focus on your better version, overcoming temptation every single day, overcoming who you are. Okay? To become your greater version. Okay? So that's why you have to every single day go to the gym. Every single day focus on the gym. Go to the gym. Saying communicate for yourself to go to the gym. So make sure you're not going to regular night clubbing. Instead, go to the gym. Make sure that you're not going to a friend's house that night. Make sure you go to the gym instead. So make sure you remove obstacles that is preventing you from going to the gym. You understand? So make sure that you're pushing yourself out of bed to wake up, to do things, to succeed, to make audio programs every single day, to grow yourself, to become your best version, and to do your creativity work in the planet. You understand? Focus on yourself, focus on your time, focus on what you came here to do. Focus on how you're moving forward and what you expect out of your life. Make sure you expect nothing from yourself. Make sure you're always just doing better every single day. Always doing better for yourself, okay? Make sure you have no expectations of anyone or anything, okay? Every single day you're just focusing on doing much better every single day. You understand? You're always focusing on a better life. And now if you don't believe in the higher power, then just believe in leveling yourself up every single day. Every single day becoming better and better and better. Just focus on that. You understand? That's what you focus on every single day of your life. Is always becoming much better than you were. Becoming your best version. You understand? That's the higher power for me. You understand? So focus on what's helping you, and what's helping you will get you to the next stage. Make sure you remove what's not helping you in life. You understand? There's always what to do in life and there's what not to do in life. Make sure that you figure out what not to do in life. Because what you never do in life ever again is you'll figure out also that you'll move into a stage where you're doing things also that is what to do. Okay? So let's say what not to do is to eat meat. Okay? So then you'll eat vegan, for example, instead. You understand? So always look for what not to do so that you can figure out what to do in your life. You understand? So you're focusing on a better life. You're focusing on your life to succeed. You're focusing on something that helps you to grow. You're focusing on just a better life. You're focusing on how to communicate. You're focusing on how to just be yourself in an audio program. You're focusing on just how to grow yourself. Because when you grow yourself, you'll always be better. You'll always be better in who you are. You always grow as much as you can. Okay? And now I realize when I'm growing myself as a person, I'm always helping myself to understand how to communicate temptation into communication. Because sometimes a person who wakes up in your house can trigger you to smoke. So then you say, oh, I see the smoke. I see the smoking, but I'm a non-smoker and I'm moving forward in my life. And I'm pushing myself to communicate now because maybe someone else in your house is triggering you to smoke. So what you do in those moments is you have to realize that that is a temptation, and then you just focus on communicating over the temptation, okay, to communicate growth in that moment so that you don't go backwards and so that you move forwards in your life and that you're communicating and pushing yourself to be a non-smoker. Because someone in your life can actually trigger you to smoke because they smoke, and now because they're accepting of cigarettes, that makes it much more accepting of the household to smoke. And now because it's accepting in the household to smoke, then you have to realize then people become a smoker because in the house it's accepted to smoke cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that's why you communicate. I'm a non-smoker. I'm moving forward. I'm moving into areas that is non-smokers. I'm moving into places where there's no smoke around me, and I'm moving into places where I feel I am a non-smoker. You know what I'm saying? And then you just push yourself forward. You push yourself in a better direction. You push yourself to communicate. You push yourself to every single day communicate more and more and more. You push yourself to become someone, to become your greater version, to become whatever you want to be in your life. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what focus is. That's what helping people is. Every single day focusing on your life, focusing on what helps you to succeed. You know what I'm saying? So always focusing on a better life. Always focusing on what makes you grow as a person. Figure out what makes you tick. Figure out what makes you love yourself. Figure out what makes you help other people. Figure out how you become compassionate. Figure out things in your life that is going to make you successful, that's going to make you grow, that's going to help you to get to the next stage. You understand? So just focus on helping your life, helping yourself to succeed. Focus on a greater life. That's what it's all about, guys. Always focusing on something greater. Always focusing on a better life for yourself. Always focusing on something that helps you to grow. Something that helps you to realize much more potential in your life. Focusing on what helps you to grow as a person. You're growing as a person, you're doing your life, you're doing your successful techniques, you're doing whatever you came here to do, and you're just pushing yourself forward every day. You're just pushing yourself forward because you realize that's what you need to do in your life. That's what you have to focus on in your life. You're focusing on a greater direction. You're focusing on what helps you to succeed. You're focusing on what helps you to move forward in your life. You know what I'm saying? That's what you focus on every day. You focus on what you are creating for people and how are you going to make that program or what you have created into something that you are doing in real life in front of people and making money from it. And you're making money from it too. You're making money from everything you're doing. Okay? You're making money quicker and much better. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that you have to be more effective. You have to be much more quicker. You have to be much more agility in your life. You have to be much more healthy in your life. You know what I'm saying? So figure out your life. Figure out how you came here to do things and how you're doing things now and what are you going to do in the future. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to help yourself with? How are you going to help yourself to get to the next stage in your life? How are you going to help yourself to communicate a greater life for yourself? How are you going to become someone in life? You know what I'm saying? How are you going to build up this social media or whatever it is? And how are you going to manifest a greater life for yourself for everything you're doing? Okay? So figuring it out every single day. Figuring out slow steps every single day to become your greater version. To become something much greater in your life. That's the whole point. The whole point is always to focus on yourself. Focus as much as you can on yourself so that you can help yourself to help other people. You know what I'm saying? Focus on Jesus Christ. Move towards Jesus Christ every day. Every single day, move towards Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that you're living your life consciously. Okay? You're consciously eating foods, you're consciously meditating, you're consciously doing things that is helping your life. You're consciously helping yourself to get successful, consciously doing it. You're not doing it on autopilot, you're doing it manually every single day. You're living your life manually, okay? That's what you focus on, okay? So anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this program. I hope that you've learned something in this program. I hope that you share my channel with other people, and please make sure you subscribe, okay? Make sure that you go through my YouTube channels and in terms of my YouTube channel and look through all my videos, and see you guys in the next program.